Hey everybody, it is Monday, November the 25th. Currently recording this video a little bit late today, 10 to 8 p.m. But I wanted to see how the price action played out throughout Sunday night into Monday morning and so on. So we can start on gold. Now last week on gold, if we open up the micro chart, you can see 60-minute price action was relatively worn into the end of last week, but we've seen where on the last video that I recorded exactly where the reaction came from. We spiked into a previous session high, and I believe it was the US high, and then price started to decline. We can clearly see decent entries actually here on the hourly without even going lower, because we have the sudden price spike. This was London, so remember as I was explaining that there was a lot of trap movement down here, especially when we broke the support. But in Asia brought the price back up. We have the reversal candle and the formation right on the session overlap, and then we actually broke through that. We took out the last high, remember, and we also induced buyers into the market from this 1 hourly, and even the volatility on the 30-minute time frame. There would have been a lot of traders stuck along here. However, all we did is come back into the previous session range. We had one rejection and reaction, and same again here. So there's two causes for a short opportunity, and it's also actually created the lower swing high just here and just here as well, from the prominent high being formed at the start of the week. Now, gold actually broke through the bottom end of support, and if I bring up the macro chart just to give further insight, what actually happened here was we have two correlations. Number one is what I've just explained here on the hourly time frame, and if we look over at the closure and how that finished on the 4 hourly time frame, you can see also there was a clear-cut rejection on the secondary confluence, which was also the 4-hour area from the two bodies over here. The closure of this candle is quite important, the shooting star, and that was at the end of this candle here. So we have two red candles which actually formed the closure of the shooting star formation. And then we went into the US session straight after that, and the US pulled the price all the way back down into the lows, taken out the previous lows from this spike over here, as you can see on the hourly. And then what more or less happened from there on the open and today's price action is that once we broke fully and firmly below, we actually taken out the previous wick, because we had the wick rejection there. And then what we see, if we correlate that to the 4 hourly time frame, the 4 hour after the shooting star formation from 1472, we had the price clearance right there. So that gave us indication that momentum was clearly bearish at this point, and we were likely to run into the next 4 hourly area, which is right here. Now, what's actually happened today, I need to put my vertical lines on here to map out the session times. I'll do that in a moment when we do go down into the lower time frame. But you can see that price was just being pushed, squashed, pushed, squashed, and we actually reacted. Let's zoom in. Look at the reaction we've had. So we've had the baseline area act as support. However, the next candle brought the price below. Candle after that, retested. So what do I expect now? After the retest, we're probably going to end up coming a little bit lower. Next area for downside, if I copy and paste, place it simply put on here, this was a clear-cut area, and you can see where 1, 2, 3, 4 rejections happened from that area, and that bang on is 1452, which is 30 pips from the current market price. So at the minute, it looks like this is just being pushed lower and lower and lower. Looking at the daily time frame though, as a recap as to last week, what's important to note is after the crunch that happened here, we had the full extended wick come back into that region, and after that, as you can see, today's candle isn't looking too good. So we will find support 30 pips lower. What can maybe happen, I don't really see it happening in the next few hours, but on the day close at 10 p.m. London GMT, we could expect maybe a tap into this region, and it could form a double bottom before going higher, because if you can see the volume on today's candle, it is relatively low. It's the lowest in comparison to the last 2 days, so Friday and Thursday right there. Coming into the 4 hourly, I do see this bottoming out at this area, and then a push to the upside may occur. So what can we do with this? We can bring it into back into the micro. If I go into the 15-minute, let me put on and update my session timings for today. So that needs to be pushed across 0, 0. 8 a.m. Yeah, and then let me put tomorrow's on as well. So 8 a.m. 1400 hours, and then we have 00. So let's do a small brief analysis on the smaller time frame. Okay, so if I was to go into this, if we look at market open, okay, looking at market open, we are here. The Asian session makes its high. I can clearly see just with the crosshair, the Asian high at 1462 more or less came into the previous, just an easy intraday area of support right there. So even if I was to just get the trend line tool, bring this across, you can see the reaction. It's nothing too prominent at the moment, but we had the snap through, retest one, nearly had a secondary retest, and then price declined through the Asian session. So what I can see is that once more again, the Asian low right here, okay, that's low 1, and then we have Asian low 2. Because it's Asian low 1, and not the lowest point of call for price action in Asia, I'm just going to go ahead and plot another intraday key level. So we have this area right here, and look what's happened. So we consolidated as we come into the London session. The London low is quite important as well. So the London high and London low. But then the US high rallies the price right into the band. So you can see it's making not only lower swing highs on the 4-hourly and even on the daily now, you can also see it being formed on the 15-minute. And let's come into the 5-minute to look a little closer. So on the 5-minute time frame, just by spotting what happened on the Friday, end of Friday, we have perfection right there as the volume is pumped into the area, bounced back, and then we've had some nice price action bringing us off that level and dumping us lower. This is the Asian low right here, but if I look just by eye, the Asian low hasn't really been respected anywhere else on the chart by the London session or the US session. So bringing it back into the 15-minute, where next? What I will mark on though, I can see this being quite important, is this is the London low, and that's the band for the London low right there. So because we're still in the US and we have surpassed 6 p.m. So more or less the London intraday activity is over and prices lost volume coming into the end of the day. What I can maybe see happening is, look at the 4-hourly. Okay, by looking at that 4-hourly piece of analysis there, the retest has already happened. So the retest has happened into the 4-hour area. I've already explained this at the start of the video, but if you correlate that to what I've just drawn onto the chart, we also have confluences lining up on the intraday time frame. Now, because of the heavy daily activity on gold, I'm looking at the price coming into 1452. So price coming in at 1452, there's two things that can maybe happen here. We could maybe see a small bounce from this area, or we could break straight through it, retest 1452. So because that's such a prominent area, I'm going to copy that, I'm going to paste it over to the right hand side, and that's where more or less it leads us. So it's not too far off, it's only 30 pips or so. Now, what I would suggest and what I would look for in terms of creating a bias for the week, because Monday's activity has been relatively slow, I would ignore any bounces from here, because my bias is still relatively bearish, and then I want the price lower to then look for the bounce. So I would wait until price reaches this level here. I would look at what formations it supplies on the 4-hourly. I would look at what it's telling us on the 15-minute, the hourly, maybe even the 5-minute time frame. So if we go back into the hourly over here, you can clearly see that every price rally back to the upside, especially this one on the session overlap of US, it's just brought the PA back down. So this there, look at how the pattern is exactly the same. So we have the rally and rush into the area. Then we have the shooting star, which is formed off an area of resistance. And same thing here again. A rush and a rally, smaller. We have the shooting star that's brought the price back down, and now we are just lagging like we have done here. And the price is slowly but surely being pulled to the downside. So you're going to see all of the patterns on the same pattern, on every different time frame. It's just a micro and a macro scale that we need to align to figure out a bias and to give us a higher probability setup. So gold, nothing too interesting really today. But yeah, I am waiting for that rebound straight at this level here. Maybe even in a spike into 1450, but we'll be careful and we'll be aware, but we know exactly where we need to look for reactions, and then we can go from there. So even here on the hourly, where I've plotted the 15-minute intraday level, you can see that after the dump, the price action on 1, 2, 3 of these candles it's strange. 3 dojis there. The momentum isn't really, doing too much. However, we've tapped into the area to the absolute pip, and then we've had a sudden movement to the downside. So a lot of trick movements at the moment. The momentum is slowing, so let's hope the momentum does halt at the area I've just showed you, and then we can move on to the next. So I do expect a pretty exciting week, to be honest, because if gold does bounce from here, we're going to be coming all the way back into the highs. So let's see what happens. Going over to GBP AUD, I like this chart a little bit more because the trades that we took last week into the lows were almost to perfection, or were to perfection. I'll spruce this chart up in a moment so you can see exactly where PA is reacting to and from. But if we look at the 4 hourly in last week, so we have the daily candle. Look at the day. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rejections with the wicks. Then we have the bearish engulfing pulling it back down. However, where did it react to? I did state that we will make a new low past here, and we did by around 20 or 30 pips. Now, as an update, what I can do is I can bring this across, number 1, and then I can bring this across, number 2. So this area, the 4 hour area, look how it served its purpose, okay, giving us the first confluence. The price ran from the highs into the lows. Now, as another update, what I can also do is get the arrow tool, and just by looking at where price is right now and where price halted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we can count that as 7 if we want to, but I'm going to go for the first area of resistance there, taking it from the bodies and bringing that across. So that was the first point of call. We ran into the band. Second, back into the band. Third, and we had the huge meltdown. The price was pulled directly from 9042 into lows of, let's just say 8900. So that's a nice 140 odd pips. We have momentum slowing down here. 1, 2, 3, 4 candles. We can clearly see that. Small gap up on the open, bringing it back down, and then market has absolutely rallied from that area. So it's quite straightforward as to what we can see on the 4 hourly, but now the price is back at this level. So keep that in mind while I come back into the 15-minute time frame, and things will become a lot more evident, and we can also get a lot more structure as to what's been going on and what's going on right now. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove some of these areas. I'm going to keep this top one on, because that's the confluence as to where PA is reacting to right now. This one over here, I'll take that one off as well. This one, however, I'm going to keep this one. Now, let me go ahead and just update the areas. So Control V, it's going to 8 AM. $1400 00. Second. Okay, 8 AM tomorrow. There, and then finally we'll take it there too. So I'll just bring these across. All right, so GA, let's fix up on what has happened and where this market is going to go. What a move that was today, by the way. Damn. So look at this chart right now, just by extending the lows. And remember on the last video, the market came into the lows. We consolidated for a while and we've rebounded for 3 times. And it's on the 15-minute time frame. This is perfection right here. London has opened, and London has taken the price from the lows up to a London high. The London high, it wasn't more or less a reaction point for, or what's this level here? I need to get rid of that. It wasn't a reaction point for the US, as they just dragged the momentum even higher. But US has taken it back into the high region of last week. So we have the low and the high, and we can clearly see the sessions now lining up. So Asia was relatively dead today. Now, top-down analysis, and if we look at the macro in comparison to the micro, you can clearly now see the 4-hour area, which I extended, was baseline support number 1 as a confluence, and then the secondary area, the band right here, that was number 2. The reason I deleted the other ones is just because of experience, and I know that they have now been more or less burnt out by the market, and the market will continue to create new highs and lows for us to actually trade from. Some 2 main confluences on the upside are the area I've just placed on, and also this one here. What I believe may happen with GA, let's have a look at the hourly for a second. Hourly, okay, interesting. Hourly, this morning, we have, look at this, you can't really get any more accurate than that. It's to the pip. We test it, bring it back up, test it once more, momentum comes through. So we go from 8.9 to 8.980 in a matter of 1 session. That's a nice amount of pips. We have a small pullback in London, but the bullish engulfing brings it straight back up too. So again, candle theories and candle analysis, we can always just throw in the highs, the lows, any time frame to assist us with our analysis. But then US brings the price all the way through the previous band. And if you look at the hourly, how the hourly was reacting, it was squashed within this area. Finally, market decided which way it wanted to move, and then we had the huge move to the downside. So I can tell here as well, you may see this often, is that the huge sudden run, so this sudden run right here was at 3 p.m, 4 p.m. So that was the US session. The US, I can tell this is a stop hunt because people will be trapped short many times over, especially at the lows, and especially by reading just the daily candle analysis and maybe even the weekly. That stops will be at the highs, the previous highs. And if you weren't taking profit, and if you didn't use trade management and actually trail stops perhaps, or take some money off the table, in 2 sessions, all of your profits would have been wiped out. And if you didn't do any of that and kept just the stop loss at the highs, then you can clearly see here this trap move, which the US has put 1 bar straight through that. But on the next secondary bar, you can see where PA has been ripped back down, and now we're retesting that. But we can clearly see, because we're smart, that bang, beautiful pattern right there. So 2 things have happened: stop run, stop hunt, and also inducing people to go long at the fucking worst level ever. Oh God. All right. Let's go into where this can actually react from and go next. So we're still in the US session right now. Now, what I believe could actually happen is that this high, this is the US high. The market, just because of the nature of that move and what happened last week and the volatility of the dips and the rallies, I don't really see GA coming back into this level, because it'll give people an opportunity maybe to get out who are trapped long. I don't know, we're going to see. We'll see what happens. But what I do believe GA can do, because even though we went from a small consolidation area on the hourly, this entire area on the 4-hour, we're still in consolidation because we're just whipping back and forth. It has to make its decision as to where it wants to go. And my thesis is to the downside again. Worst case scenario, if I just extend this chart, worst case scenario is that we could come back up into the highs where I've already got the small ray tool drawn on. If the market does do that, it could give us an opportunity to actually dump this even harder. But we'll just see what cycles the market makers want to play at this point in time. So 15-minute at the moment, it is looking like a pretty decent sell-off. What we can also do is trend line across. We want to just keep that level boxed off for the next few sessions perhaps, and see if that's reacted to in Asia, if we stay below this area, and if we also stay below the key 4-hour area. That's going to be quite something to watch. If it does, this will give us another opportunity. I'm taking it to go short and back into 8,900 and maybe even break in that area. At one point we do have to fold on GA, and we could come a lot lower as well, but we take every step as it comes. So from now, nice little update here on the Monday. We've had a nice price rally to the upside. It's quite straightforward. There's nothing really significant I need to point out on this, but I've just explained to you exactly what I see in the chart and now why I expect it to decline. So I'll check back in tomorrow, probably around the same time, to see the daily activity, and then we'll go from there.